May I come in, sir?
Please come.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Have a seat. आप शुरू करें.
Thank you, sir.
I've not had a chance to look at your resume
Okay.
because I just got in.
No,
But
let me start.
Yeah, please.
Let me start with that. Dear, congratulations that you've come to this far.
Thank you, sir.
You are an LLB in 2019, and then you do. So between finishing your LLB and starting at Jindal,
Yes, sir.
what were you doing?
Sir, I graduated in 2018 from National Law University, Odisha. In 2019, I started working as a legal research consultant for the Center for Child and Law, which is housed in the National Law School of Bangalore. And thereafter, I worked there as a legal research assistant, and recently I got promoted as the legal research associate for the center, sir.
Good. Okay. And then you decided to leave that and then do the LLM, or you were doing all the LLM simultaneously?
Sir, I was doing it simultaneously. I took a brief break though. In 2021, after my interview at the civils, which was my first interview, I could not make it to the final list. I decided to take a small break from my job, and I did my master's LLM in dispute resolution, and I prepared for the exam simultaneously.
So this is your second attempt?
My second interview, sir, overall my fifth attempt.
Okay. Your second interview. And how much did you score in the first interview?
Sir, not that good, sir, 162.
Okay. And your written result was what? How much?
Sir, my overall score was 905. So I'll have to do the math. Sir.
No, I understand. I understand. Did you, how many points did you miss it by?
Sir, 40. 40
Okay,
marks.
so I get it. Okay, so much by way of preliminaries. I find it quite interesting that you have interest in socio-legal research and writing on food security and child protection laws in India.
Yes, sir.
What are the main child protection laws in India?
Sir, on the criminal side, the major laws which are there, it would be the Juvenile Justice Act, the POCSO Act, which takes care of children in need and care and protection. Alongside that, when we look at a wider perspective of child protection, we have the Child Labour Prohibition Act, the Right to Education Act. Then there is the differentiation between child work and child labour, which India is looking into to explore further. Then there is prohibition of human trafficking, which comes as a component of child protection. Our work, sir, the interest is very closely linked with the work that I am doing right now. So it is based on two divisions. One is dealing with children in conflict with law, and also children in need of care and protection. The ones in conflict with law get or they are tried under the Juvenile Justice Act by the Juvenile Justice Board, and need and care of protection, so I just mentioned.
Right. You mentioned two phrases, child work and child labor or employment.
Yes, sir.
How are these two distinguished by the ILO or within Indian law, and can you just sort of
Yes, sir.
spell that out a little bit more?
Yes, sir. Sir, ILO in one of its directives had clearly distinguished between child labour and child work. So when we talk about child labour, which in India is prohibited, it talks about a child being enrolled in a kind of work which takes away his school hours, which is detrimental to his health and well-being, and also detrimental to his future prospects of building a good, decent, fulfilling life for himself, because he is earning wages all throughout. Child work, on the other hand, sir, in one of the research papers that I worked on for the Better Cotton Initiative project, it talked about how a child can be helping his parents, maybe in the shops that are owned by the parents, or maybe in the plucking season of cotton, where the schools are off, but in no way which is detrimental to his health or his educational prospects.
Okay, good. That sounds interesting. Um, Let me take you farther afield from your area of law, and now suddenly I place you in UP. You've been posted and you've chosen UP and you are located in Ayodhya.
Okay, sir.
And the government decides that it is going to every Diwali now support financially the lighting up of diyas around the Ram temple. You've read the Indian Constitution, you're a lawyer, so you know the Indian Constitution.
Yes, sir.
What does the Indian Constitution have to say on these matters?
Sir, under Articles 25 through 28, which talks about how India is a secular country, every citizen has the freedom to propagate his religion and his religious practices, and the government is very clear that it will not directly support the core religious activities of a specific region. However, sir, whenever these initiatives like lighting up of diyas, if I am not mistaken, somewhere in UP itself, from what I recollect from my readings, the Guinness Book of World Record was made of lighting the maximum number of diyas. So these, if there is a support from the government, where the government is also supporting activities of other religion, it is not violative of the Indian Constitution. But it cannot be discriminatory in its approach towards one specific religion.
Okay, you belong to Bengal, your schooling was all in Kolkata.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask you about Bengal and its economic challenges. Can you tell me, from the time that at independence Bengal was far and away the most industrialized state of the country,
Yes, sir.
to now, what do you think are the nature of the challenges that have emerged over this period? What are the and secondly, a more recent contemporary question, what are the structural economic challenges that Bengal as a state faces now compared to the kind of challenges it might have faced then, when we became independent and when it was the industrial hub of the country?
Sir, with respect to the challenges that post-independence Bengal faced, so the first thing that comes to my mind is Bengal missed the liberalization pass. From what I have read and researched on, I have seen that, because I am based out of Bengaluru, I keep doing a comparison between Bengal and Bengaluru. The techno hub of the country was supposed to be established in Kolkata. What Bengaluru is today, Bengal could have been, or Kolkata could have been, somewhere in the 1990s. It missed the liberalization pass because of the prevailing communist party which was there, and that was protectionist in nature because it wanted to conserve the labor laws. So that is one of the reasons why today, leading to my second reason, the issue of brain drain happening from Bengal. I would love to have worked in my own home state, but the opportunities are limited there, sir. So a lot of youth my age are coming out of Kolkata and they are setting up their base in cities like Hyderabad and Bengaluru. And so the third, and that is linked to the last question, sir, you asked. Today, the kind of challenges that Bengal is facing, it is slightly closed off to the big capitalist players who want to invest and set up their establishments in Bengal. The Singur case was an evidence of that. However, it is making progress too, sir, through the recent international business summits which are happening, and promising investments have been assured. There is sector
only assured or actually materializing?
So they are materializing too, sir. For instance, there is this place called Sector 5 in Salt Lake. in Kolkata. So there all these industrial and tech hubs are coming in, which is attracting a significant pool of employment today. And I am hopeful and fingers crossed, sir. I would really love to go back to my state and start working there.
Dr. Sinha.
Very nice. I mean, we've asked questions on the judicial system, the constitution, etc. Now, if I were to say that the constitution, the written constitution that we have, is not static but dynamic, would you agree with that?
Yes, sir. So way back in law school, we started constitution law in our second year, and the first thing we were taught is the Indian constitution is a living document, and that is because of the blend of rigidity and flexibility which the amending provisions of the constitution allows.
But is there a limit to change you feel might result in a dangerous situation, which might result in majority strength in the parliament tinkering with the constitutional principles?
Yes, sir. I do feel that whenever there is a majority provision, majority strength in the parliament, as we've seen in the past, there is a probability of laws being rolled out which might not stand the test of constitutional validity. But that is where, sir, the judiciary comes in, and the entire basic structure doctrine which was laid down in the Keshavananda Bharti case also comes in, because anytime there is a law, and it has been seen, sir, be it the farm laws or any other laws for that matter, which perturbed the moral fabric and the socio-legal fabric of the country, a challenge was made before the Supreme Court, and the basic structure doctrine was the test through which the laws were either repealed. And so it's not just limited to current days, it has been going on since the significant.
So where does the buck stop? The legislative, the executive, or the constitution?
Sir, I feel that it is kind of an amalgamation work which is done these days. The judiciary is very careful of judicial overreach, so it keeps giving recommendations, and then the legislative acts on those recommendations to ensure that the laws that they are rolling out are in consonance with the constitutional principles.
Right. Now let me just take you a little into the more global scenario of things. At the global level, we all know that it's the state's interest that matters, right? And often the international law becomes subservient to national interest. Now there's this big debate around the world that the realist perspective, that state power, state interest is the overriding principle, and there's no moral or illegal aspects attached to it. We see China in the South China Sea doing what it wants to do. The United States, is probably looks more like a principal state, but when you scratch its surface, we know that it has not even ratified the UNCLOS. Now, how does international law and states' national interest converge, or is it a relationship that will be constantly in sort of animosity?
So, given the contemporary global situation, there was a time there were schools of thoughts on the monotheism. I'm sorry, sir, not the monotheism, but there was a school of thought which believed that the national interest overrides everything, Morgenthau being one of the forerunners of that particular principle, sir. However, sir, dualism believes that international law, though it's a soft law, it has no enforcing provision by its own, but that has to be read in consonance with the national laws, sir. And sir, I feel that today the need of such a scenario is more than ever. yes, national interest has to be kept in the forefront, sir. If, for instance, a nation's sovereignty is threatened by terrorist incursions in any way, it is time to have, as India is observing, the offensive realist perspective, the offensive defense approach that India is taking up right now. However, sir, respect to international law, respect to conventions signed, for instance, the Hague Convention or the Geneva Convention, especially if the nation has ratified it and even signed it, sir, because customary international law says that even signature amounts to a basic amount of moral obligation that the country has towards the global committee. So both have to be balanced side by side.
Right,
Otherwise, we'll have a situation of anarchy.
Very good. Over to you.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned about child labor.
Yes, sir.
I think BD industry, but definitely the cracker industry,
Yes, sir.
they employ a lot of children. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So what is being done about that?
So, at the forefront, we have the constitutional provisions which prohibit child labor.
Yeah.
Then recently amendments were made which listed down a specific number of industries like the cracker industry, the BD industry, wherein children could not be employed up to the age of 18 because that is extremely detrimental for their health, sir. And sir, I think at the local level also the executive is extremely vigilant of the same, wherein wherever there is any semblance of child being employed in such harmful industries, the same is reported and action is taken up, sir.
Do you think they're doing it in Sivkasi?
So from my readings, what I recollect, there were children involved in the Sivakasi firecracker case, and that was extremely disastrous, especially that when that incident
My understanding is that Sivakasi firecracker industry has been practically decimated in the last 7 or 8 years. Are you aware of that fact?
No, sir.
No.
I'm so sorry.
Well, it's been decimated first by the demonetization and secondly by the imports of Chinese firecrackers.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, sorry, please
But all
continue.
matchboxes are made there.
Yeah, no. No, please continue. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine. I'm very impressed by the way you have conducted yourself in this, let's say, mock interview.